Today I'll be speaking on what I've titled, Making the Most of the Seasons of Your Life. Making the most of the seasons of your life. You know, your life as a woman is in seasons and transitions. And for every season and transition, there is an activity. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 3:1-8, and I'll be reading now. It says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to hear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. You know, as a woman, your life is in seasons, as I said, and in transitions. And for each and every one of that season and transition, there is an activity that must be done. And if that activity is not done in that particular season or time, internal conflicts will emerge. You know, unlike a man that has just the productive role, our lives as women, we have the productive, which the work we have to do, we have the reproductive roles as well. And both of them come with enormous responsibility. You know, as a woman, seasons of your life, you're first a child, somebody's daughter. And then you are a sister. And then you are a wife. And then you are a mother. And then you are a citizen. And then you are a worker in God's hands. You know, Proverbs 31:10-31 gives us an ideal picture of the world of a woman. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a worker, she's an entrepreneur, she's a servant of God, a philanthropist, she's a housewife, a cook, a nurturer, a counselor, a keeper, a watcher of her home, a decision maker, a supporter, a friend, a sister, and a child of God with a God-ordained assignment. Now, some of the seasons that a woman goes through, she goes through the season of marriage, she goes through the season of motherhood, and then there's this transition of moving from place to place. Then there's the transition of menopause, there's child rearing, there's the empty nest when the children leave home, and then there's retirement. There's moving from place to place because of your spouse. Each different season comes with its own challenges. You know, because a woman is always connected with somebody. She's somebody's sister, she's somebody's wife, she's somebody's mother, she's somebody's daughter. And so the life of a woman in each of those seasons can hardly be lived in isolation. Before she makes important decisions of her life, she's got to consider others. How will the decisions of her life affect the lives of other people who she's connected with? Her children, her husband, her community. A woman hardly makes decisions based on herself alone, on her own self or selfish motives. And as a result of that, each season of her life has a tendency to bring forth its own challenges. Some seasons of a woman's life, it's impossible to pursue her dreams. Some seasons make it difficult to pursue her dreams. Some seasons make it impossible to pursue her dreams. Some seasons can be said to be dream killers. I want to read some of the seasons of a woman's life and let you know some of the challenges that they portray. The season of marriage and motherhood. If you are in the season of marriage and motherhood, it can have a significant influence on your life. Because at that particular time, it's the time when your career needs to be launched. And because of the challenges of juggling work and raising children and marriage, probably you've taken time out, left your career, and raised your children. And you're currently struggling. Tendencies that you're currently struggling with the challenges of, who am I? You've lost a sense of your identity, a sense of who you are. You've lost touch with your purpose, with your passion, with the dreams you had for your future as a young girl. But all hope is not lost. We're talking about how you can make the most of the seasons of your life. You know, I had my first two children in quick successions. just want to share a personal story. I had my first 2 children in quick succession, so I had to take a career break after my second child. I took a career break which spanned about 6 to 7 years. And at the end of that, I struggled with a sense of identity. I was disconnected with who I was because I had poured my life into the lives of my children. It's not meaning you have to be a stay-at-home mother, no. But the tendency that it's so easy to lose touch with who you are because you pour yourself in the lives of your children and you lose touch of who you are. But we're going to be talking about how we can make the most of that season of our lives. Another challenging season or another challenging transition in the life of a woman is when you have to move from place to place because of your spouse. Relocating from place to place because of your spouse. I remember a particular lady who said to me, I had a juicy job in Lagos, but I had to move with my husband up north and she lost that job. So that's another challenging season in a woman's life. The midlife season is another difficult transition, a difficult season in a woman's life. That season can be a rude awakening. I shared some of the challenges that women go through in their midlife in one of the episodes. It's a time when you are juggling with different changes. You're afraid of your future. You're juggling the physical changes of your time. Your looks are no longer the same. Gravity has taken place in some places. Your marriage has lost its spark. You're juggling with emptiness. The children are leaving home. You find, what am I going to do with myself? You're regretting some of the decisions you made in your yesteryears. So the midlife season is another transition, a season in a woman's life. Other specific seasons which throw up their own set of challenges include being a matured single and having to struggle with loneliness and with the stigma of society saying, when are you going to get married? And the pressures of society putting pressure on you. So that's another season a woman goes through. There's another season of transition where you're separated or divorced and having to start life all over again by yourself. Another season is the season of menopause, hormonal changes, physical changes, and discomfort. What about widowhood? Having to deal with loneliness, grief, fear, financial insecurity because your breadwinning spouse is no longer alive. There's also the challenge, the season of retirement, when you're dealing with financial insecurity and what you will do with your time. Now, if you are going through any of this season that I've talked about, I understand. I know that each of this season has a tendency to make you unfulfilled, unhappy, because of the numerous challenges you are struggling with. But you do not have to be a victim of the seasons and transitions in your life. You do not have to be a victim of the seasons and transitions of your life. You can choose to stay on top of them. You can learn how to be happy, fulfilled, and satisfied. You can learn how to be happy, fulfilled, and satisfied irrespective of the season you are going through. You can take control and choose to stay on top of the challenges of each season because you know what? You have the power to do so. In the next episode, I'll be sharing with you how you can make the most of whatever season you are in, whether it's a season of midlife, whether it's a season of motherhood, whether it's a season of rearing your children, whatever season you are in, I'll be showing you and sharing with you how you can make the most of the season of your life and stay on top of it.